Hi everyone, Misha the Word Witch. Welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry it's been so long since my last upload. My work schedule was really crazy for a while and I didn't really have time to film or think of content to film. Thankfully now things are a little more even. So today I am able to film this video, which is the 50 books I want to read in 2025. Now that doesn't mean throughout 2025 I won't be reading other books. It just means that these 50 are books I want to read because they're either new releases I'm really excited about, they're books I've had on my TBR pile for a while, they're a new series or author I might be interested in, or they're a book that I've had for a while and I'm just at the point where it's like you either need to read it or get rid of it. So out of the 50 books, only 26 of them I physically have right now. 2 of them, which are new releases for 2025, are not out yet, so I do not have those yet to show you, unfortunately. And then the rest of the books are going to be coming from my local library. I checked, my library has them, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to read these 50. So I'm going to start off with the 26 books that I actually own at the moment. The first one, which is a recent acquisition, and I'm very excited about it, is Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. I love Game of Thrones. Did not love how the show ended, so don't come for me. Did not love how the show ended at all. And I've been watching House of the Dragon and been trying really, really hard to avoid spoilers because I haven't read this yet. I took it out of my library, I can't remember how long ago, and for whatever reason, I just didn't get around to reading it. So I was at a used bookstore and I asked if they had it and she said, we just got it in today. It's like somebody just like traded it in today, so felt like fate. I was hoping for the hardcover, but the editions that I have of Game of Thrones are about this size, but they're like leathery, so this will fit on the shelf nicely with them, so I guess I can't complain too much. But yeah, this book I definitely plan on reading in January. I am so excited to finally read it. Like I said, I love House of the Dragon. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. So this is going to be in no particular order. So the next book is A Guide to Elegance by Genevieve Antony Dero. I'm probably butchering her name so badly. But there was a book I had read a long time ago. I think it was called like Elegance. And this book was referenced by the main character a lot. And at first I thought it was a fictional book. And then one day when thrifting, I actually found it. So I've had this book for maybe a year or two now. And I want to read it. I want to see, you know, the main character of that book. You know, I loved that book. I don't know if I still have that book. If I do, it's probably back at my parents'. But yeah, I'm just excited to give it a read and, you know, see what I can gain from it. And also, like, the color of this book is beautiful. Like, I know it's probably like, I don't know if it's Tiffany blue per se. I think it might be a Tiffany blue, but yeah, I'm just excited to read it because, you know, it was referenced in the book I really liked, and the fact that it's a real book is great. The next book is Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking. I bought this secondhand, and I bought it just because, you know, a lot of people have raved about Joan Didion, and I'm really curious as to what the hype is. You know, I don't know too much about her, and yeah, I'm just really curious to see what this book is about. Will I enjoy it? Will I not enjoy it? And I love how it's got, like, you know, they're very similar in color. This one's just a little darker on the spine. So yeah, I'm interested in reading that. This is a book I've had for a while, and I got a few pages into it and then for whatever reason just stopped reading it. I can't remember why that is, but it's Banish Your Inner Critic by Denise Jacobs. I, over the past couple of years especially, have come to realize I am my own worst enemy. Nobody puts me down harder than I put me down. And because I'm constantly putting myself down, it makes it very difficult for me to achieve my goals or for me to feel confident about myself or where I'm going with my goals. So I think that, reading this could benefit me. Again, I've had it for a couple of years now. Don't know why I started reading it and stopped. So I'm going to read it this year. The next book is Beren and Luthien. I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of this, by J.R.R. Tolkien. I love Tolkien. I love Lord of the Rings. I love The Hobbit. So I bought this secondhand. It's still in really good condition, and yeah, I just want to read it. Give it a shot. I have read the Silmarillion. So, yeah, I'm just curious about the story. I do have another Tolkien book as well, but I decided not to add that to the books I, determined to read in 2025. I might still read it throughout the year if I have time, but I don't know. This one, when reading the descriptions between the two, this one just caught my interest a little bit more. So maybe the next one will be for 2026, or I have time in 2025. The next one is The Devil to Pay by Hugh Fitzgerald Ryan. This was another secondhand book, and yeah, the cover alone caught my interest, and the back description's really interesting. So yeah. I haven't had this one super long. I've maybe had this book maybe a year or two, but I definitely want to give it a read. And for being secondhand, it's in pretty much brand new condition. And yeah, I'm excited to read it and see what it's about. The next one is Deliverance from Evil by Frances Hill. It's a novel of the Salem witch trials. For anyone who doesn't know, I have a great interest in the Salem witch trials. I've read tons of books about it. It's a subject that really fascinates me. So when I saw this book and I bought this book secondhand, I was like, you know what? I need to read it. It looks interesting. This seems right up my alley. So I think I've had this one maybe a year or two, maybe 3 as well. So I'm excited to finally get around to reading it. The next book is Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I've read the other books in this series, Stalking Jack the Ripper and Hunting Prince Dracula, and I really enjoyed this series. I think this is the last one. It's been so long since I've read the other ones. I do remember the other ones pretty well, but it's been so long since I've read the other ones that I can't remember if this is the final book in the series or not. But it's finally time to read it. It's finally time. And plus, I love the cover. I love the tarot, and even on the back, yeah, you can tell I bought this on sale. I love the the crystal ball and the candles and all that. That's totally my vibe. So I'm excited to finally get around to reading that. The next book is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I know there's a show for this. I've had this book for a while, and I did buy this secondhand, but it still looks like it's in brand new condition. I feel like maybe at some point I did read this and I just don't remember reading it. But at the same time, I'm pretty good at remembering the books I read, so I don't know why I feel that way when I But yeah, so I'm going to finally read this. I mean, like, everything about this just screams like me. Like the cover, the title, like even like, you know, just like the simple crescent moon on the side. It's I can't see any reason why I wouldn't like this. So I'm determined to read that this year. And then this book I just picked up a couple months ago at my library bookstore. It's Your Spacious Self, Clear the Clutter and Discover Who You Are by Stephanie Bennett Vogt. Oof, I'm really bad at pronouncing names, so I apologize to these authors if I'm butchering their names. But, you know, for 2025, I'm definitely working toward a more minimalistic life. You know, in 2024, I've really overwhelmed myself with, you know, physical, mental, and emotional clutter. And I really just like want to break away from that. Like I want to live with less. You know, books are one thing that I don't think I could ever live with less of, but I definitely want to be more mindful with the books I buy, more mindful with the books I read, because this is like the first year that I DNF'd books. Like normally when it comes to books, I push myself through even if I'm not enjoying them, but this is like the first year where I really allowed myself to be like cutthroat and DNF books. And also, if you watched my book trunk declutter video from a couple months ago, I'll have to link it down below if you haven't seen it. Like I felt I was pretty cutthroat with that. There were a lot of books in there I just never read, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna read these. And for me to on haul books I haven't read, like that's completely different. Like I normally don't do that. So hopefully reading this will help me in the journey that I want to be on in 2025. The next two books, they're by the same author, so I'm just going to group them together. It's Wikipedia and The Crystal Witch by Shawn Robbins and Leanna Greenaway. And first of all, can we just talk about how beautiful these are? And also, you know, I've had them on my bookshelf for a while, but now they've been in the book trunk because they haven't been read. I mean, just look at how good those look next to each other. Yeah, I'm just really excited to finally dig into both of these and read these. You know, over the years, I've had a lot of different books about Wicca and witchcraft and crystals, and I really just want to curate that down to books that I really enjoy or that I really feel like I will keep getting beneficial information from. Because also, especially like books about crystals, you get a lot of repeating information. The only thing that might be different is like maybe one book might have, you know, a section in it about like, you know, like just crystals that you don't normally see in other crystal books. Like I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't think of one right now. So yeah, I can't wait to finally, you know, read both of these, and hopefully I enjoy them enough that they can stay on my shelves for a long time, because they're beautiful, they're pretty, they make me happy. But I've also come to realize like I can't just keep books because they're pretty. Like the book Dracula, you know, I read it, I only half liked it, and I kept it on my shelf for a little bit, and just because like the spine was pretty and looking at it made me so happy. But then like got to a point where I'm like, I really didn't like this book. I don't care how pretty this is, I didn't like this book. I can't keep it just because I like it the way it looks. So I let it go, and I don't miss it. Okay, we're making our way through the next two books. I'm gonna group together because they're basically on the same topic. We have An Essential Guide to Herbs by Leslie Bremnes, and then we have Herbs by Jenny Harding. And again, it's kind of the same thing like books about crystals. Maybe these might have some different herbs in them, and I might glean some different information from them. But I also do have another book on herbs, which is the Cunningham's one, which is very witchy. I think this is just more like herbs in general. I don't think there's anything witchy about these, but again, do I need 3 books on herbs? Probably not. So I'm gonna read through these two, choose between one or the other, or maybe keep both of them. I don't know. I gotta see once I read them. And the only reason I didn't add the Cunningham one to my absolutely must read list for 2025 is I didn't want to overwhelm myself with 3 books on the same topic. Too much information on one subject can definitely can be overwhelming. So I'm just gonna read over both of these. Maybe I'll keep one, maybe I'll keep both. I don't know. Or maybe I'll read both of them and decide, what, I'm not really getting the information I want from these, and hope that the Cunningham one has what I want. But yeah, so finally getting around to reading these two. I've had these since I worked at Books A Million, and I haven't worked at Books A Million in almost 3 years. Can't remember exactly. So it's been a little bit. The next book is Burning Bright: Rituals, Reiki, and Self-Care to Heal Burnout, Anxiety, and Stress by Kelsey J. Patel. I had started this book earlier in the year. I just put it down, never picked it back up, so I'm just going to restart it. 2024 was just, I definitely dealt with a lot of burnout, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and I really want to reduce that for 2025. That's part of my decluttering is, I want to declutter, mental and emotional, issues besides just, physical clutter. So hopefully this book can help with that. The next book, I looked through it and couldn't find an author for it. So I wonder if it's just like a compilation. It doesn't give me an author's name, but it's just called Moon Magic, and it's from Sweetwater Press. First of all, can we just talk about how beautiful this book is? It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I'm just really hoping that I like it enough that I get to keep it. Again, this is a book I've had for a while, and I'm finally at the point where I'm like, you need to read it. So I'm going to read it. The next 4 books are books that I've previously had on a list of books I want to read in a certain year, and I didn't get to them for whatever reason. The first book is Line by Line by Claire Kierwald Cook, and it's a book about how to edit your own writing. I am currently working on a novel. I'm currently on the second draft of it. I haven't gotten very far in the second draft because I'm getting feedback from my beta readers. My main character as of right now is not very likable, and also I've decided to change the setting of the novel. So I got a lot of work to do, and hopefully this book will help me be able to make the changes I need and make the second draft strong, so that way I only have to do a third draft, because I know some people have to do like 4 or 5 drafts so it's perfect. The thought of doing that is very daunting for me. And then the next book is The Path of Druidry by Penny Billington. I've just always had an interest in druids. I think they're very interesting. So yeah, I look forward to finally actually reading this. And then the next one is Paganism: An Introduction to Earth-Centered Religions by Joyce and River Higginbotham. Again, just I'm really excited to read this, learn a little bit more about paganism. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not as educated about paganism as I should be, and I want to be more educated about it. And then the last book is Witches: True Encounters with Wicca, Covens, and Magic by Hans Holzer. And this is another book that I think I had this on my list for last year or the year before, and I just didn't get around to reading it. Admittedly, it is a big book. So maybe, I was reading a lot of other big books at that time and just felt like slightly like, oh, I can't take another big one, even though this year, I kind of have some big books. So yeah, hoping to actually get around to reading it this year. And then the last 6 books that I physically have that I want to read. The Financial Lives of Poets, a novel by Jess Walter. The cover really got the title and the cover, really got my interest. The synopsis, it sounds like it could be interesting. I just got this book earlier this year, but I've never read anything else by this author. So, I just want to read it, see if I like it. Yeah. The next book is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering. So I actually had read this book, or started this book, a couple years back, and I bought a copy secondhand. I also bought this copy secondhand, but the secondhand copy that I got was missing a good chunk of the book. Like, I don't even remember how many pages. But it says, okay, but this copy has 486 pages. I think 480 of that are the actual book. I think the copy that I had was missing. It was definitely between 100 and 150 pages. So I didn't get to finish this, and I was really mad because I was enjoying it. So like I said, I finally got a copy secondhand again that actually has all the pages. So I'm finally going to finish reading this year. And I'm looking forward to finishing reading it. Has anybody else ever had that where they bought a book and it's been missing pages? I know at one point I had a secondhand copy of The Scarlet Letter, and the pages were out of order. Like, I don't know if maybe the book fell apart at some point and the person rebound it wrong, but it went from like one page to like I think it was like 100 pages ahead of where I was. So then I had to like page through until I found where I was supposed to be, which was at the end of the book. So then I had, and to be honest, I didn't even read it. Once I saw that, I was so frustrated. I donated that book. I probably should have thrown it out, but I don't feel right about throwing out books. So hopefully if somebody got that copy secondhand, they were able to take it apart and put it back together the right way, because that was just the weirdest thing. The next book is Stop Doing That, not gonna say the word, End Self-Sabotage and Demand Your Life Back by Gary John Bishop. A couple years ago I read his other book, which was On F Yourself, and I really liked that one. I still have it. And I'm really looking forward to reading this one because, like I said earlier, I'm my biggest obstacle. Nobody sabotages me more than I do, and I'm tired of it. I'm 33 years old. You self-sabotage when you're in your teens or in your 20s, in your 30s. Or at least I feel like for me in my 30s, I shouldn't still be doing that. So, and then the next book is Calm Thee Down How to Control What You Can and Accept What You Can't So You Can Stop Freaking Out and Get On With Your Life by Sarah Knight. Yeah, it doesn't take much for me to freak out. I admittedly am a control freak. I don't like when things don't go the way I want them to. And it's an aspect of my personality that I'm not happy about, and it is something that I would like to at least minimize. I don't think it's something I can completely change. Maybe it is, I don't know. But I would really just like to be less of a control freak and also, be more mindful on how I react to things, because one thing I learned this year is I'm very quick to react. I don't always think before I react, and that has led to a lot of problems, and I just don't want to keep having those problems. So hopefully this can help with that. The next book is Thriving with Social Anxiety by Hattie C. Cooper. Again, just my social anxiety makes my life a lot harder than it needs to be. Although surprisingly, at my new job, I do work with older people, and none of them see it. They tell me I'm so likable, I'm so personable, I'm all these things. So, somebody who suffers from anxiety and suffers from social anxiety and is insecure and everything, to have people say, we really like you, we think you're personable, having you here is great. It's a weird feeling. Because I've spent so much of my life thinking I'm unlikable, I'm, this and that, and just all these bad things about myself. So I'm really hoping that reading this can help me see what the people I'm working with see, because as of right now, I don't see it. But also, I'm working with people who are, between the ages of 70 to 100. So they got a much more life experience than I do. And then the last book, for the books I actually physically have on hand, is The Complete Sherlock Holmes Treasury by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I bought this secondhand just simply because, look at how beautiful this is. This is a nice book. Admittedly, I remember reading a Sherlock Holmes book in college. I, for the life of me, cannot remember, or a Sherlock Holmes story. I, for the life of me, cannot remember what one it was. But I remember I didn't like it that much. Oh, here it is. It was The Hound of the Baskervilles. I love how I'm just randomly paging through this and all of a sudden it pops up. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. However, after watching the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, and then watching the show with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, I almost said Martin Short and I knew that wasn't right. So yeah, Martin Freeman. It changed my perspective on Sherlock Holmes. So when I saw this, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a second try. If I really enjoyed the movies and I really enjoyed the show, there shouldn't be any reason why I wouldn't enjoy this. So yeah, I'm gonna read this. Hopefully I end up liking it, because I really want to keep this. This is beautiful. And you never know when eventually a future offspring of mine might need to read Sherlock Holmes for school, and then I'll be like, well, here, just use this. Okay, so those are the 26 out of the 50 books that I actually physically have on hand right now. Any of these books that I don't read by the end of the year, I'm going to just get rid of. I'm just going to declutter them. you know, especially for any of them that I've had for a couple of years, or any of them that I had on a previous list and didn't read. There's got to be a reason for it. So if I don't read them by the end of the year, I am just going to on-haul them. If it's like at the end of the year and I'm still like, I'm like halfway through it, or, you know, I just started reading it, then I might make the exception depending on how far I am into the book and how much I'm enjoying it. But, yeah. So we'll see how many of these, you know, get read and how many of them end up permanently staying in my collection. I can already tell you, though, this one is absolutely staying part of the permanent collection. I love Game of Thrones. I'm loving House of the Dragon. Yeah, so I already know I'm keeping this one, but I still want to read it. It's been like, this book has been out for how long? Like, I should have read it already, and I just don't know why it took me so long to read it. And yeah, this came out in 2018. Oh my goodness. So now on to the books that I don't physically have on hand, but I'm going to either purchase or take out of the library. The first two books are books I definitely plan on buying. The first one is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I read Fourth Wing and I think it was Burning Flame. Yeah, Burning Flame. If I have that wrong, I'm sorry. I have my new reading journal on hand. I don't have my old one. And I blew through those so fast, and I loved them. Like, it was just probably my, you know, when I do my end of the year blog post saying, you know, like all the books I read, you know, my top picks, those two are definitely gonna be at the top of the list. So when I found out that Onyx Storm was coming out, very excited. I can't wait to read it. Yeah, so definitely excited for that one. The next one, and I'm probably going to butcher this, and I feel bad if I do, The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner. Sarah Penner is one of my absolute favorite authors. The Lost Apothecary, The London Seance Society, I love those books so much. And I actually met Sarah Penner back in 2023, and she was just so nice. She's so beautiful. She's just overall just one of the best experiences of my life, and I still like talk about it, think about it to this day. She's just great, and her books are great. So I'm really excited to read this, and I know it'll, you know, be a part of the permanent collection. It'll go right up on the shelf with my other Sarah Penner books. The next book, this book has been on my TBR list for I can't even tell you how long. This was on my Goodreads, and I don't use Goodreads anymore. I used to be really big into it, but then it got to a point where I was reading so many books and then trying to sit there and update. I couldn't do it. Is Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but I don't even really remember anything about the book. But I know it's been on the list for a while, so I'm like, you know what, just pull it off. Grab it. Let's just go. The next two books are by the same author. They're Shadow of Night and The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. They are the books that come after A Discovery of Witches. I was actually trying to hold the book up, but yeah, they're the ones that come after Discovery of Witches. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to read the whole series. And if I end up liking it, then I can, you know, get the other two, add them to the collection. I do know that I am running the risk that if I don't like this one, then I have two other books on my list that I might not like. And, you know, that could end up being like automatic DNFs, and I know I'm running that risk, but I'm confident enough that I will like this that it shouldn't be a problem with the other two. The next one is Oblivion by Kelly Krieg. This is the last book in a series that's like Edgar Allan Poe inspired, Edgar Allan Poe based. I believe the first book is called Nevermore. I can't remember what the second one was. It's been a while since I read the first two, so I might need to reread those before I read this. But I know I've had this on my TBR list for a while, and I'm finally at the point where I'm like, you know what, you just need to finish off the series. I think I still do have the first book back at my parents' place. I know I didn't bring it with me when I moved. So, yeah, we'll just have to give it a read and see how it ends. The next book is Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. Just, you know, I love fantasy novels, so I'm just really excited to read that one. The next one is Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. A YouTuber I used to watch talked about this book, how it really helped him, so I'm like, you know what, let's give it a read. The next one is Detox Your Thoughts by Andrea Bonier. I'm really bad with last names. Yet again, you know, just another self-help book to really kind of hopefully help me. The next one is Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Again, just another book to kind of help me figure out what is and isn't important, hopefully help me minimalize and, you know, de-stress my life. The next one is Spells for Lost Fangs by Gianna Evans Welch. Anything that has the word spell or witch or anything like that just gets me. So, the next three books are all by the same author, and they're a series. So the books are The Whispering Dead, The Ravenous Dead, and The Twisted Dead by Darcy Coates. Originally, when I was at the library, I came across The Ravenous Dead on the one shelf, and I was going to take it out because it looked really interesting, and then I saw that it was book 2. They didn't have book 1, and I didn't want to wait to get book 1, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to read all 3 of them in 2025. I'm just going to get all 3 of them out at once, read them. And again, it's the same thing with the Deborah Harkness. I know I'm taking out 3 books in a series. This is a series I've never read, an author I've never read, and I'm taking the risk that I may read the first book and absolutely hate it. But I'm feeling pretty confident, just from how excited I was about the second book, that I'm going to like these. The next book is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. I have seen so many mixed reviews about this, and, you know, from friends, from other booktubers, and it's like a cozy fantasy, which I'm not sure I fully understand what that means, but I'm still gonna read it. I'm still gonna give it a try, and hope I like it. The next book is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I've seen a lot of people talk about this book. Seems to have great reviews, so I'm going to give it a try. Ninth House by Leah Bardugo. I mean, I loved, you know, the Shadow and Bone series, her Six of Crows, you know, The King of Wolves. Like, I loved all those books. So I did read this year The Familiar, and that, I think, was the weakest thing I've read by her. I did not enjoy it as much as I enjoyed all the other things I've read by her. So I'm hoping that Ninth House is closer to, you know, Shadow and Bones and all of them than it is to The Familiar. The Librarianist by Patrick DeWitt. Again, It's got the word library in it. The cover was really interesting. I remember reading the synopsis of it. I cannot remember it for the life of me right now, but I really did. I am excited to read it. Then Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. Again, I wish I remembered all of the different things I read about these books. But I'm just excited to read it. And then there's The Coven by Harper L. Woods. Coven. just throw like, the words at me that I like, like anything that has like spell and witch and coven and library and books, and just throw those keywords at me and I'm gonna read your book. The next book is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I've seen a lot of mostly positive reviews about this book. Some people didn't enjoy it so much. I just want to give it a read because I'm really curious about it. And then there's The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean. Just The Book Eaters, just the title alone, I'm like, what? I want to read it. I want to know. And then the next book is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Howley. I don't remember too much. I just remember like seeing it, thinking it sounded interesting, and it's like, I'm going to give it a try. And then the last one is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. And so that rounds out the 50 books I want to read in 2025. It should be an interesting year because I'm reading a lot of authors that I've never read before. I'm starting and finishing series, hopefully. And I feel like I did a really good job this year of having a mixture of, fiction, self-help, some nonfiction, like Line by Line obviously is nonfiction, and that's, a book about writing. So I just feel like I did like a really good job this year of like giving myself more genres and stuff to work with. Obviously there's a lot of fantasy. I do enjoy fantasy probably more than any other genre. So I'm really excited for 2025. And it's kind of funny. I know 2025 is right around the corner, but I'm thinking about the books I want to read in 2025, and I'm still working through my 2024 list. And I don't know, like right here I can see 3 books that were on the list for this year that I still need to read through. I don't remember if those are the last 3 or if there's other ones. I know there were 2 that I definitely couldn't read because they were not available at my local library. And if other people want to do audiobooks, like, I'm totally for that. You read however works best for you. But I'm not an audiobook person. Like, I rather just read it myself. So those are the 50 books. The next video will probably just be me talking about the first couple books I want to read in 2025. That'll be a much shorter video. If you're still here at the end of this video, because right now it's, clocking in at over 40 some minutes. If you're still here, leave a book emoji, whatever color book you want. You can leave a stack of books, leave an open book, leave a closed book, just leave whatever kind of book you want. And then if you want, share some of the books with me that you plan on reading in 2025. Let's compare lists. And if you like this video, don't be afraid to give it a like. Don't be afraid to subscribe. I am hoping to be more consistent in my uploading. Hoping to at least get out 1 video a week. Maybe I could do 2 depending on the length of them. And also I will leave a link to my blog down below. I'm a little bit more consistent on my blog. I don't post every week, but at least there is always a post about how I did for my reading goals for the month. So if that's the main thing you're interested in, definitely go check out my blog link down below. So that is all for this video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.